Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be showing you this look right here. This is my fresh face, no makeup look. This is what I would put together on days where I want to look put together. And I also want to look my best, but without going too much, like without wearing like heavy eye makeup or crazy highlighter or just going to like too much in any direction. I want to look put together and I want to look presentable, but I don't want to look like I have a ton on. So this is what I go to. This has been my go-to look lately. I really hope you all like what you see. Now let's get right into it so that I can show you exactly how to recreate it. All right, so all that I have on my face right now is just a moisturizer and my sunscreen. I don't have anything else aside from that, but I want my skin to look as nice and as smooth as possible. So for that, I'm grabbing the No Pore Blem primer from Touch in Sol. I really like this primer because it goes on really smoothly and it's super lightweight, so it doesn't feel heavy on the face whatsoever, and it makes everything feel just so smooth. So I'm just taking one pump of that, rubbing it in between my fingers and just applying it here along the sides of my nose, on my nose, and kind of just all over the face. Usually when I am going to be wearing like, you know, full glam, I like to focus here along the center of the face, especially here along the sides of the nose. But since I want my skin as a whole to look nice and smooth, because I'm not going to be wearing like a heavy full coverage foundation, I want my skin to look as smooth as possible all throughout. So just rubbing that into the skin just feels so good. I love this stuff. Next comes color correcting. Now, if you don't have the under eye darkness or any kind of discoloration along the face, then you don't necessarily need a color corrector. You can feel free to skip this step. I do need a color corrector underneath the eyes in order to just lighten that area up so that it doesn't look as dark and that I don't look as tired. You know, when I want a fresh face look, I'm not looking to look tired, I'm looking to look well rested. So for the color correcting portion, I am going to be using my Bobbi Brown corrector. This one is in the shade Peach. I personally really like this one, especially on like a lighter makeup day, because it is so pigmented. I don't need a whole lot of this product underneath the eye in order to truly correct the darkness. So I'm just going to be taking a little bit of this with my finger and just blending it into the skin. And I'm just gonna make sure that it blends in and melt into the skin so that it's not a like heavy layer of product just sitting on top of the under eye area. And I'm gonna concentrate a lot of the product here along the inner corner since that's the darkest area under my eye. So just a little bit of this makes such a difference. As you can see, look a little bit more well rested, not so much. Now for foundation, I like to use something that's going to be more medium coverage than full coverage. For an everyday, I don't necessarily want or need something that's going to completely cover my skin. I want my skin to be able to breathe, and I want it to still look like skin, but for my skin to look really evened out. Now for today, I'm going to be using my Tarte Foundsealer. I really like the coverage on this, and I like how lightweight it looks. I just take one pump, and that's pretty much all I'm going to need for the entire face. I'm using the shade G35, I believe. Yes, 35G. And I'm gonna take that with my damp beauty blender. I find that applying foundations with my damp beauty sponges, it really allows me to customize the coverage. So when you apply it with a beauty sponge initially, if you're working with more of a medium to full coverage foundation, it's going to deliver more medium coverage than full coverage. And then if I have like a blemish or if I have a spot that I need to conceal or that I need a little bit more product on, then I can go back with a little bit more foundation, or I can go back with my concealer and spot conceal. And that way I don't necessarily have to wear a full coverage foundation. I can just take care of certain spots that need additional coverage. All right, next comes concealer. I have been loving the Boing Cakeless Concealer. This is the one that I've been reaching for the most lately. I really love this concealer because you don't need a whole lot of product in order to achieve full coverage under the eyes. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this concealer and just concentrate the product here along the inner corner, since that's the darkest area underneath my eye. And then I'll take my Deluxe Crease Brush. This one's from Real Techniques. and just blend out the concealer with this brush instead of a damp beauty sponge. I really like using this brush whenever I'm not working with a ton of concealer underneath the eye, just because I feel like it distributes it a lot easier and it doesn't absorb as much product. So most of the product stays on the skin and this just helps blend it all out evenly. Whereas my makeup sponge would definitely absorb some of the product, so I may need a little bit more concealer. All right, so now that we are done with concealer, it's time to just set the under eye, set the face really, just very, very lightly. So for that, I'm gonna be setting the under eye area with my trusty RCMA No Color powder. This powder has been such a holy grail of mine for such a long time now. It seems like I've been using it for years, and I'm pretty sure I have. But I love it because it's lightweight. It doesn't feel dry underneath the eyes. It doesn't give you any flashback, and it truly is no color. So it doesn't alter the shade underneath. It doesn't alter the concealer shade. It doesn't make the under eye area appear super, super white. So I just take a little bit of the powder with my damp sponge, then I shake off any of the excess, and that's what I use underneath the eyes. So you see, once it goes on, it's white, but as you blend it into the skin, it disappears. It's just amazing. I love that. So I'm just gonna take some of this powder, and I know where I get oily along the skin throughout the day, so I'm just gonna set those areas just so that I don't have to deal with the oiliness throughout the day, you know? Just gonna set the forehead, and I'm also gonna set the sides of my mouth here, my little smile lines. Okay, so now moving on to the brows. I'm not gonna do a whole lot to them aside from just filling them in and shaping them up a little bit using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade Dark Brown. So just filling them in with like feather-like strokes and shaping them up a little bit, just kind of following the natural shape of my brow. But then of course I'm filling in areas that need it, like down here, for instance. There are some sparse areas that need it. All right, and then I just go in with the spoolie side and just fluff them up a little bit to make them appear a little bit fuller than what they usually are. So for me, as you can see, something so simple as like filling in your brow, it can make such a difference. Or color correcting the under eye area, boom, such a difference. All right, next, the eyes. Now, I am gonna be setting the lid with a little bit of powder because after applying foundation, after applying concealer, product does tend to collect there along my crease, and you'll be able to see that. So if I don't blend it away and then set it with a powder, that's going to be something that's going to annoy me the entire day. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but it has happened to me and I hate it. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of my RCMA powder with my beauty blender here and just set the lid so that I don't have to deal with that throughout the entire day. Now, depending on the day, sometimes I will add a little bit of eyeshadow, like if I have a little bit more time to spare. And I like to stick to something like warm and neutral, kind of like a really light brown or like a peachy shade, something that's just going to complement anything that I'm wearing for that particular day. But when I'm in a huge hurry, I don't bother with that. I'm simply going to focus more so on the lashes and the lash line. So I'm gonna take my Soft Glam palette, and the only reason why I'm grabbing this palette is because it has a really deep brown. I don't really like to use blacks for an everyday look, so I like to stick with either really deep browns or really soft light browns. I'm gonna grab Cypress Umber, which is the dark brown there, and I'm grabbing that with my angled brush, and I'm gonna place this as close to my lash line as possible. And that right there, it makes a really subtle difference. So I don't know if you can tell, but my lash line looks a little bit thicker, so my lashes look a little bit fuller. And once I apply mascara, it's gonna really bring it all together. So since, like I said, I'm not focused on the eyelid, I'm just focused on the lashes and the lash line. It's a really subtle thing that you can add or you can pop on, and it's gonna make such a difference. Especially if you compare it to this eye, like this, as you can see, the lash line looks a lot thicker. This one, not as much. All right, next we're gonna focus on the lashes. I'm grabbing my Maneater mascara from Tarte. I really like this particular mascara because it doesn't only add volume, but it also adds length. And I like the wand on this because it helps separate all of my lashes. See, couple of coats, nothing on the lashes, really makes a difference. So as you can see, I keep comparing like the before and after as I'm like going through this little tutorial because I want you all to see what a difference such like little things can make to your makeup look. If you do certain things a little differently, if you just adjust certain things, or if you add certain things that don't really take up a whole lot of time, it can make a huge difference. All right, now you can leave the lower lashes alone, or you can add some mascara. If I do add mascara, like I'm gonna do now, when I add mascara, I don't like to go too heavy on the bottom lashes because then your eyes kind of look, to me, your eyes kind of look like scared because you're just like, whoa, when you apply too much to the bottom. So I either skip it or I apply very little, which is what I'm gonna do now, just very little. So the lower lashes are there, they've been acknowledged, but they're not the star of the show, you know, they're not taking over. All right, so now the eyes are done, the brows are done, the base on the face is done. It is time to add a little bit of color. I love this stuff. I love this butter bronzer so much. I use it pretty much everywhere. I use it as a blush, I use it to contour, I use it to bronze, I use it on the lids sometimes. If I ever want to add just a little pop of a shimmer and a little bit of warmth to the lids, this is what I use. I love this stuff so much. For today though, we are only going to be using it in order to add a little bit of color to here and to here, and we're going to call it good. So I'm going to grab some of this with my tapered highlighter brush. This one's from Luxie, it's their 522. And I'm just going to start off here along the hollow of my cheek and just bringing it in and swirling it up. Don't want to overdo it. I don't want to add too much, but I definitely want to add some warmth to the face so that we don't look just so flat. All right, now for highlighter, I'm grabbing my CoverGirl Super Stunner palette. This one is in the fair to light shade, fair to light skin tones, but I like it anyway. I'm gonna grab the center shade with my damp beauty blender and just apply that onto the high points of my cheeks. This gives such like a really subtle like glow to the face without looking like too much or like too glittery, you know? So for an everyday, it's perfect. All right, last but not least, the lips. Now you can choose to just apply a little bit of gloss and call it good. That would look perfect. You can also just apply a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of lip tint, like whatever it is that you're into. This is a combination that I am currently obsessed with, like obsessed with. If I can wear this every single day, I would wear this every single day. So this is the Beauty For Real liner, the lip liner. It's a Define lip liner in the shade Neutral Light. And this is the Becca lipstick in the shade Dune. I love this by itself because it is such a nice peachy color. But when I pair it with this shade underneath, it just turns into like the perfect nude for my complexion, like the perfect peachy, pinky nude. A lot of time what I find is that when I find a peachy, pinky nude in a lipstick, just looks a little too like chalky on me. It looks a little bit too light. It just doesn't look good. But this combination, I feel like it looks good on my complexion. So what I do is I just line my lips and I fill them in using the lip liner here. All right, so there's a liner. Even this by itself, it's so pretty. And then the lipstick. Voila, there it is. All right, so that completes my fresh face, no makeup look. I hope you all really enjoyed this video tutorial and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you all. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.